Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about winning and losing. There's an expression about winning gracefully and not being a sore loser. So, in my life, I'm going to tell you some stories. I'm going to tell you a story about a guy I know named Chris, someone who I knew a long time ago. And Chris was a competitive person, and I'm a competitive person also. But the difference between Chris and me is that Chris is a sore loser. When he would lose, he would get a little angry, um, and he would cheat to win. You know, he had to cheat in order to win. So, as an example, we were playing a game where we had to throw a tennis ball into a basket, and I was ahead for some reason, but I kept missing. You know what they do? They intentionally they modify the ball so that it doesn't fly straight because it's not a skill based thing. It's a goofy competition, is what it is. And I noticed that my ball kept hanging to the left. So I said, you know what? I'm going to shoot it a little to the right, and I finally got it in. Now Chris has kept missing too. So we were both constantly missing easy shots. And I didn't know that the balls were modified until I figured out. I said, you know, that was way too many in a row. So you're supposed to take turns because that was the rule. Because they don't have like 100 tennis balls. They've only got two or three. Chris would not take turns. When the referee would throw the ball to me, Chris would push me to try and take the ball so he could throw two in a row. That's the type of thing. So another example is we were playing a card game. It's called Spit. You might be familiar with it. Basically like a two-player solitaire. And we both had like two cards left. And it was 100% obvious I was going to win. It was a winning play. I had He had two cards and I had maybe two. And he had to put his card down. Or maybe he had two and I had one. He had to put his card down and then I would win by placing my final card. So what did he do? He refused to play his card. And he just sat there and cried like a baby. And I was like, look, you lost. Put your card down. So when he cried like a baby, I took my hand off the card. Then he put his card down, and then he put his final card down, which ended up being a legal move, and he ended up winning. And I'm like, and then he says that's a part of playing the game, is what he says. I said, no, you're a sore loser, is what it is. The guy cannot accept losing. He has to be the winner. And there's a phrase we use about being merit based, meaning you want to achieve something. That's the type of person I am. I don't win by cheating. If I had a chance to cheat, I would not do it to win. I want to achieve things. I'll use another example. I was playing racquetball and I accidentally hit the other player in the back of the head. It happens sometimes. Or maybe I hit him in the back, I don't remember. Because what happens is you bounce it off the back wall and the shot hits the guy in the back. He turns around and he says, I'm going to take revenge on you or something like that. He intentionally started trying to hit me with the ball. And I noticed that the ball was whizzing past my face, and eventually he hit me and he said, see, I got you. And I'm like, you seriously sat there intentionally trying to hit me with the ball, and it hurts when you get hit with the ball because I bounced one off the wall. And when it bounces off the wall because the ball is weaker, it doesn't hurt when it bounces off the wall. But that's an example of someone who's a sore loser. Another example where we were playing cards. No, they were playing Uno, and somebody said, "Oh, let's play Uno." I said, "Oh yeah, I want to play." And somebody complained, said, "No, he is competitive. He always has to win." And it hurt my feelings when this woman said that. Because, I'm just a good player. I don't have to win. And they don't understand it. I don't even like keeping score. Like when someone actually defended me and she said, I played tennis with him today. He's not competitive. And there's people who are not merit-based. They use the word competitive to describe someone who they think has to always win. and not as someone who's just good at what he does. And I was playing tennis with this woman. I'm never the one who says, let's play a game. I'm just like, let's just hit the ball back and forth. Of course, I'm going to beat her, playing tennis. I mean, she's not going to be as good as me. And when she says, let's play a game, I play to win. Why wouldn't I? But if I had lost, if she had beat me, I wouldn't care. So then I had this other friend. His name is Steve. Steve was a big loser, but he had another difficult situation. His older brother always had his way. So Steve always lost. And there was a day when it was, I don't know if it was tennis. He lost. Steve was good at sports. Played sports with him. I never considered him better than me. We played a lot of sports. We were all good. So somebody that wasn't as good as him beat him in tennis. Steve was a top-ranked tennis player. He cried about it, threw his racket, yelled and screamed. These people are sore losers. And this guy over here, Unicums are all stat patters, guaranteed he's a sore loser. Cannot accept losing. Gets angry because they are reward-based. So I was actually at the Empire State Building. It was around 20 years ago. And someone said, we're going to play a game. Everyone get out a piece of paper, draw one of these symbols. And it was like star, circle, wavy lines, list goes on. Everybody draws a star, except for me and one other girl. And that girl was someone who I was friends with up until this past week when current events occurred, because she has a political point of view that's different than mine. That's the sole reason why. I wrote a circle, she drew a circle, and everybody else drew a star, and they said, well, okay, so what does a star mean? It means reward. And what does a circle mean? They say love. So fine. Me and the girl that I was close friends with, I said, okay, I guess I agree with you. One of the guys turned to me and he said, I felt sorry for you, is what he said. You know what? I think what he did was sex was his drawing. And I was like, man, I feel sorry for you. I'm a first generation American. My family emigrated to America. I'm Italian. And we were not city folk, we were country bumpkins. And we don't have the same beliefs as the Americans that grew up in the 80s. They came from, if you know the Tytler circle, surplus. That's not where my family came from. My family, they came out of World War II, and they lived under communism. And my father said even if it wasn't communism, it was like communism. It was similar. Government had strict regulations for growing on the farm. And, we have a different philosophy. We're more family-oriented. And we really don't care about money, because when you come from a country where nobody has money, you could have gone up to anybody in the village or out in the countryside and say, how much money do you have? And they would say nothing. And when I lived in South America, it was the same thing. I was talking to someone about business, and the guy said if you ask people how much money they have, it's going to be $1, basically, is what's in their pocket. So, there's a big difference between different people, and some people happen to be sore losers. It's sad that that's the way it is, and they play the game, and they're all on WOTLabs.com, apparently. And they have bad attitudes, and the sad part is they ruin the game for everybody else. When I play and I make fun of people, I'm not doing it because I genuinely dislike those people. I'm doing it merely for comedic purposes. Those people are not going to hear what I say if I'm making fun of some guy in a game. And I make fun of myself also, which I have no problem with. And when I was younger, I met a lot of women. I dated a lot of women, and they would say they don't like self-deprecating humor. I never understood why. Now I know. It's because they can't handle loss. They got to be the queen. They got to be up on the pedestal. And I was like, that's not where I came from. Maybe you did. I didn't. And a lot of people in the world didn't. My goal was never to be wealthy or to be a winner. I'm a loser. I got no problem with it. That's why I don't care about my win rate. And I am setting out to show people that you can be a winner. I'm going to get all the gun marks. It's going to take a long time. I'm working on it. You see, I've got like 150 tanks with gun marks. I know I'm going to finish it. I know what a lot of the tricks are. And there's two guys that have a lot of gun marks. One is Skill for LTU, and I think the other, I got to be honest, don't know how to pronounce his name. I believe it's Orzanel or something like that. They've got all the gun marks, right? They did it strategically. The first and second gun mark is easy. The third one, you got to be strategic about it. You have to play your A game, but at the same time, you play when you get your strategic advantage. If you play a game, you get a good game, and your gun mark goes down, why would you play another game in that? It's shifted against you. But if you play a game and you have an average game and you're going for the third gun mark and the gun mark goes up, that's a strategic move. You play those tanks and you get the third gun mark a lot easier. If they had done something like get all the 3 gun marks in alphabetical order, that would have been a lot more impressive. And Skill for LTU, he's up to like 120,000 games. Game performance goes down at that mark. If you look at people who have 120,000 games or more, all of their stats start to go on a decline. And there's a paper about it. If you search on the internet, video games, the statistics eventually even out. Your statistics will look better when you start out, but over time they diminish and they approach the average. They converge towards the average. And there's a lot of players with 200,000 games. All of them start to have declining statistics around 120,000 games. They just, it's just the way the statistics works because, for whatever reason, that's the way it is. They do change the formulas. I picked up tanks, didn't play in 5-6 years, get the gun mark on the first game, even though I should have had to play like 10 games to get it. So there is a strategy behind it, and I know a lot of the strategy. It's going to take a long time to do it, but that's what I'm going to do. I got nothing better to do. It's going to be difficult for the heavy tanks, but all the other tanks like SPGs, light tanks, are going to be easy for me. Okay, so that's it for this amazing video, which has led you completely entertained.